All right, hello everyone. So we're going to continue talking about how to graph in slope-intercept form. So again, slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Okay, so anytime you see an equation that's written like that, you know that it's going to be an equation of a line. Okay, now slope, so the variable m represents slope. Okay, and remember, slope means rise over a run. So we talked about how there's 4 different types of slope: a positive, a negative, a zero, and undefined slope. And then whatever is being added or subtracted to the equation at the end is going to tell you what your y-intercept is. So if it's a positive b, it's going to be up on the y-axis. If it's a negative b, it's on the y-axis on the bottom. Okay, so we're going to practice graphing the line given certain information. So graph the line giving the following info. So we have a slope of 3/4 and a y-intercept of 0, 1. So what this means is that we need to first plot our y-intercept, which is at 0, 1. Okay. So now once I do that, so again, step 1, we need to plot 0, 1. And then once I do that, from that point of 0, 1, I'm going to apply my slope, which is a rise of 3 and a run of 4. Okay, and so what does it mean to rise 3, run 4? So I would go from this point, go up 1, 2, 3, and then run 1, 2, 3, 4, and that gives me my second point. Now, once you have 2 points, I could go ahead and graph my line. Okay. And so again, to go through this, the first thing you do is you plot your y-intercept. The second thing you do is you apply your slope based on its rise over run. So let's go ahead and go over the second example now. So the second example, we have a slope of -1/5 and a y-intercept of 0, 4. So 0, 4 is right here. That's your y-intercept. So again, plot your y-intercept. And then from y-intercept, we are going to rise -1 and run 5. So think about what rising of -1 means. This actually means I'm going down. So from here, I'm going to go down 1 and run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's my second point. 2 points, create a line. Okay, and notice this line is going downwards because it has a negative slope. All right, example number 3. So in this problem, we are going to plot a line with a slope of 4 and a y-intercept of 0, -5. So 0, -5 is down here. And then I have a slope of 4, but you need to turn slope into a rise over run, so you would put it over 1. So what this means is I need to rise 4, run 1. So from this point, I rise 1, 2, 3, 4, run 1. There's my second point. Draw my line, and there we go. Remember, at any point, you could pause this video if you need to go over it. All right, so last problem here. We have a slope of -1 and a y-intercept of 0, 2. So I start at 0, 2. Okay, so again, this is where you start. And then I need to apply a slope of 1, but you need to turn it into a rise over run. So to turn a whole number into a fraction, you put it over 1, which means I rise -1 and I run 1. And so we have another example of rising -1. Well, that means I go down. So from this point, I go down 1, run 1, which means this is my second point. So again, I only need 2 points to graph a line. And there we go. All right, so in my first 4 problems, I gave you information of how to graph it. I gave you the slope and I gave you the y-intercept. Now let's go ahead and practice it from an equation. So our first 2 examples is we are going to graph each line based on the information. So to kind of recap, remember we have y equals mx plus b. So the m represents your slope, and then the b represents your y-intercept. So as we're going through this, I'll graph the slope, or I'll apply the slope in red, and then I'll plot the y-intercept in green. So looking at this equation, it's already in slope-intercept form. So this represents my y-intercept of 0, -5. So there's my first point. Now the number in front of x represents your slope. So this needs to be a fraction, so I put it over 1, which means I rise 2, run 1. So from this point, I'm going to rise 2, run 1. And there's my second point. I have my line. All right, question number 2. Y equals -1/2 x plus 4. So again, the plus 4 means my y-intercept is at 0, 4. So again, on the actual y, I'm graphing 4, or plotting 4, I should say. Then my slope is -1/2. So that means I rise, again, that's my slope. So I rise -1 and I run 2. So from this point, remember, rising a negative means you're going down. So I'm going down 1, right 2 to get my second point. There's my line. Okay, last two examples here. We have y equals x minus 2. Okay, so looking, this is in slope-intercept form because it says y equals mx plus b. So this value is my y-intercept at 0, -2. So I need to be on the y. And then my slope here is a little more tricky. So think about what you know about math. And so there is one x here. So technically there's a 1 here. But I have to write it as a fraction. So to write a whole number as a fraction, I put it over 1. So rise 1, run 1. Okay? So from this point, I rise 1, I run 1. Again, 2 points to graph a line. Last but not least, we have y equals -5x plus 2. So the 2 is my y-intercept, which is 0, 2. And then based on this, what is my slope? Well, the number in front of x is -5, but I have to put it as a fraction, so I put it over 1, which means I rise -5, run 1. Remember, rising -5 means you're actually going downward. Sorry, let me draw that downward. Cool. So from this point, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, run 1. There's my second point. Here's my line. Okay, and so make sure this makes sense. My slope is negative, so I need to make sure my line is going downward. Whereas number 3, my slope is positive, so my line is going upward. Okay? So before you leave today, I will also put this in the chat. What you're going to do is you're going to explain how to plot y equals -3/2 x minus 1. So you need to send me a message explaining how to graph that line in words. Okay, so you don't have a graph. You need to tell me where you start, then where to go. All right?